Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show, CoinFLEX versus Bitcoin Jesus. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is June 28th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nicodemus, and I will be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. So take a minute, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast now, because we're here at 10 p.m. every night so that when you leave in the morning, you're taking with you the crypto news analysis that you need to start your day. Keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. So on Thursday night, during the whirlwind tour of exchange news, we talked about CoinFLEX, and we talked about the fact that the Miami-based exchange, which isn't very old, was running into some money troubles. And specifically, we talked about how Mark Lamb, who is the CEO of CoinFLEX, he said the company was pausing withdrawals, and he said it was due to market conditions and someone who wasn't Three Arrows Capital. Here's what he said, quote, "Due to extreme market conditions last week and continued uncertainty involving a counterparty, today we are announcing that we are pausing all withdrawals. We fully expect to resume withdrawals in a better position as soon as possible. We will fully communicate with you as we find out more." Now, apparently, one of the issues here is this counterparty is an individual, and that individual had a, quote, non-liquidation recourse account. Now, here's what that means. It's a condition. An agreement between an exchange, and in this case, it's CoinFLEX, and a person that they can't be liquidated because they are personally guaranteeing their account is topped off with equity. Here's what they said, quote, "In normal circumstances, we would auto-liquidate a position that runs low on equity at prices that are prior to the zero equity price. And if you think this is an unusual deal, I think you're right. I can't get that kind of deal. Chances are you can't either. Although some of you might. I bet you there's some whales out there." At any rate, this guy got a deal. CoinFLEX said he was a, quote, high-integrity person, large portfolio, large stakes in several unicorns. And so it came to pass that they did indeed pause trading on both spots and perpetuals. And at the time, they said that they were planning on withdrawals to resume June 30th, so in a couple of days. Well, they were planning on giving an update on Monday, yesterday. Well, let's talk about that update. On Monday, they put out a white paper. This white paper, they said they want to raise $47 million, which $47 million is apparently the amount of money that they need to raise to restart withdrawals. And apparently, it's the exact amount of money owed by the investor CoinFLEX is trying to collect from. So here's their plan. They're going to issue a new coin. They're calling it the Recovery Value Token, and we're going to get back to that name in a minute. But first, let's talk about the names and tokenomics involved. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $910.3 billion. It's down 3% in 24. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin down 2.49%, Ethereum down 4.63%, Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin down 2.95%. Now, be advised, this investment opportunity is meant for high-value investors. Oh, and not high-value investors from the United States. Yeah. The U.S. is on the same list as Venezuela, Iran, North Korea, and Syria, but not Russian, though. I'm looking at their website right now. They have a page that shows who is prohibited from trading at CoinFLEX, and the U.S. is on that list, but not Russia. You can't invest if you're from Belarus, but it doesn't say anything about Russia, which is curious, especially since they are based in the U.S. I mean, I get it. They're not including the U.S. because of the whole securities thing. They don't want to get in trouble with Gary Gensler and the SEC. But come on, at least exclude Russia. Anyway, beyond that, to be eligible to invest, you must have an annual income of at least $200,000, and you need a net worth of at least $1 million or more, US. and they're not including any real estate in that value, but that value can be combined with a spouse. And there are some other terms, like you have to be able to use a crypto wallet and things like that. Now, the minimum subscription on this one to get in on it is $100,000 US, starting today, running until probably Friday, the 1st of July. And what do you get from that? A 20% annual percentage rate paid daily. You want to know where that 20% comes from? Because, I'm always nervous about interest rates in the 5 to 6% range. And this is 20%. So where's it coming from? Here's what Lamb said, quote, "So that 20% comes from the user itself, paid upon repayment of the debt owed to us," which is kind of a red flag for me, because that means the 20% return is predicated on actually getting that money out of the borrower, assuming it can be substantiated that they owe them that money at all. Even Lamb noted the difficulty of seeing such a debt collected. First, he says there's precedent. Quote, "There is a clear history, especially with Bitfinex, tokenizing debt and creating tokens that can solve problems in crypto." And he says that the legal system is slow and time-consuming. And yeah, here's an important point. The RVUSD is intended to be effectively a stablecoin, one USDC for one RVUSD, at least on issuance, which brings up a point. They say that they're owed $47 million, and they're asking for $47 million as a loan, and they're offering a 20% interest rate on top of that. How's that going to work? So the theory is that the holdings that they'll get back from this borrower is going to be enough to make everyone whole. That's the plan. That you'll be able to exchange this RVUSD for enough USDC to pay the debt off. So what if that doesn't happen? Well, then it starts to hurt CoinFLEX even more, because in October of next year, 2023, the plan is to pay off what's left out of USDC from the exchange's balance sheet. Well, you'd have a choice, USDC or their stablecoin, FlexUSD. The global NFT market cap is up over $12.14 billion. Sales volume is down 1.74% in 24 hours. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are Other Deed, followed by Moonrunners, Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, and CryptoPunks. Now keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. CEO Lamb posted on the CoinFLEX blog saying, quote, "We have been speaking to potential large buyers and believe that there is significant interest in the terms presented. And they're still hopeful for resuming withdrawals on the 30th. But they did say it was subject to the success of the issuance of RVUSD. In the RVUSD white paper, they talk about the person who owed them money, without naming them, of course. They do mention the effect that this person's debt is having on them. They say, quote, RVUSD is a token issued by CoinFLEX related to an outstanding debt owed by a certain net high worth individual to CoinFLEX. They go on to say this person's account entered negative equity and hasn't provided enough liquidity to meet their margin call. Which, I guess, why would they? They know that they have a deal where they can't be liquidated. Now, here's an interesting thing about that token. Think about the name, RVUSD. You got it yet? Do you know who Roger Ver is? Bitcoin Jesus, that's who. It's a nickname he got. He was an early Bitcoin adopter and angel investor. He's invested in Bitcoin.com, Blockchain.com, Ripple, Zcash, BitPay, Kraken, and others. Well, Fat Man Terra broke the news. In a tweet, he said, quote, a verified insider has confirmed that the high net worth individual who owes CoinFLEX money is Bitcoin Cash advocate and CoinFLEX shareholder Roger Ver. Ver had a long on Bitcoin Cash, and the platform allowed him to run a deficit because he personally guaranteed he would pay them back. Now, Fat Man Terra, we've talked about him before. I really first ran across him in relation to the Terra Luna collapse. He's a member of the Terra Research Forum and provided extensive coverage on that last May. Well, unsurprisingly, not long after the rumors started flying, Ver took to Twitter to refute them. He told his 754,000 followers, quote, "Recently, some rumors have been spreading that I defaulted on a debt to a counterparty. These rumors are false. Not only do I not have a debt to this counterparty, but this counterparty owes me a substantial sum of money, and I'm currently seeking the return of my funds." Notice he just says counterparty. He never actually names anybody here. Well, Lamb had words for that. In fact, he put together a 4-part Twitter thread refuting pretty much everything Veer had to say. Called him out by name at the top of the thread, saying, quote, "Roger Ver owes CoinFLEX 47 million USDC. We have a written contract with him obligating him to personally guarantee any negative equity on his CoinFLEX account and top up margin regularly. He has been in default of this agreement, and we have served a notice of default." And then his thread went on to talk about Mr. Veer. Lamb says that he had a long track record of topping up margin and meeting his obligations that come from that agreement. And since this problem started up, he says they've spoken frequently on calls with an eye towards resolving it. And he says that the debt is indeed Mr. Veer's. And he also specifically denies that CoinFLEX owes him any money. So there you have it. Lamb was on Bloomberg TV Monday night. He indicated that he was unconcerned that there would be any issues once customers were able to withdraw their funds again. I am not as optimistic. I expect people are going to do just what scared people do. I fully expect people to yank their money off of CoinFLEX as soon as possible. I mean, why wouldn't they? It seems like a pretty natural reflex to make sure that your money is safe after being threatened like that. It's exactly the same response as bank runs, which is something that detractors like Senator Elizabeth Warren has said is one of the problems. She and others have been worried about runs on exchanges much like runs on banks. Now, is this scheme going to work? Is RVUSD going to save CoinFLEX? Or is this going to be effectively a Ponzi scheme? Are they picking the pockets of new investors to pay off the old ones and hoping for a break to settle up? Or maybe Roger Ver is right. Maybe he's being maligned by a crypto exchange desperate to survive. I can tell you this much. This is going to bring regulation. Just like this whole big mess, this whole undisclosed, rehypothecated Terra Luna 3 Arrow Seas Celsius high interest garbage mess is going to bring regulation. And maybe it's due because it looks like we can't manage ourselves without it. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I'll stop talking. You stay safe out there. Watch out for yourselves, but watch out for each other too. We'll see you tomorrow night.